Hey, grace and peace. Shalom to everybody. This is your brother Yehudah ben Isaiah. And today I'm going to do a quick lesson on the rape doctrine. The rape doctrine. You have people out here talking about it's okay to rape. But it's comical to me. Those same people talking about like that witch Nepal that be with Qanath, the satanic Negro Qanath. You say God condones rape. Well, you should be okay if somebody rape you. If somebody beat you, push you in an alley, a dark way, beat the hell out of you, and rape you. Now, Paul, you should be okay with that. If you have a daughter, Nepal, you should be okay if any man rape your daughter, beat your daughter down to the ground, and rape her. You should have nothing to say, run to no police, because you say it is okay according to the Most High. Also, you, Qanath, it should be okay if somebody rape your wife, beat your wife down, and rape your wife. You should have no complaints, Qanath. The first place I'm going to is 1 Peter 3. 1 Peter 3, verses 6 and 7. 1 Peter 3, verses 6 and 7. It says here, even as Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord, whose daughters ye are, as long as ye do well, and are not afraid with any amazement. Verse 7. Likewise, ye husbands, dwell with them according to the knowledge, giving honor unto the wife, as unto the weaker vessel. Does it not say the weaker vessel, that the woman is the weaker vessel? The female is the weaker vessel. As unto the weaker vessel, give honor unto the wife, as unto the weaker vessel, and as being heirs together of the grace of life, that your prayers be not hindered. But again, God says, giving honor unto your wife, or the female, your daughters, your mother, your aunts or aunties, your female companions, or the women of Zion, all women as the weaker vessel. With that being said, let's go to 2 Samuel. God says that the female is the weaker vessel. And that's a medical fact. Why do you think that the men are naturally stronger than women? It's because when you go do the research, you will see that men have more blood flowing through our system. Men are stronger naturally than women. That's a fact. Naturally stronger than women. That's why when a person moves, let's say from New York City to Florida, Who usually do the moving of the furniture? Who usually move the heavy objects? Men, because men are naturally stronger than women. That's why God said that women, or the female, is the weaker vessel. They the weaker vessel. 2 Samuel 13. Let us read verses 12 through 14. 2 Samuel chapter 2, dealing with Absalom and Tamar, his sister, right? And how he tried to force himself on his sister. Now we just read that God said that the woman is the weaker vessel. 2 Samuel chapter 13, verses 12 through 14. And she answered him, Nay, my brother, do not force me. She said, do not force me. Why? Because God said that the woman, the female, is the weaker vessel. Do not force me. For no such thing ought to be done, meaning rape, in Israel. Do not die this folly. Verse 13, and I, whither shall I cause my shame to go? And as for thee, thou shalt be as one of the fools in Israel if you force yourself on me, Absalom, and rape me. You will be a fool among Israel. Now therefore, I pray thee, speak unto the king, for he will not withhold me from thee. Verse 14, Habet, meaning Absalom, he would not hearken unto her voice, but being stronger than she. As we just read in 1 Peter, it says that the man is the stronger vessel, that the women is the weaker vessel, but being stronger than she, forced her and lay with her. So he forced her and he laid with her because it says that he was stronger. Verse 14, he was stronger than she. Napar. Again, Napar. By any chance, if you get beaten up, forced in a corner somewhere, somebody come in your house, beat you down and rape you, you should not complain to no damn body. Don't run to the police or nothing, because you say that God condones rape, which is a blasphemous lie. Let's go to Lamentations. Lamentations. God said that the women, God said that the female women are the weaker vessels. And I just showed you that Absalom being stronger, it said that being stronger than his sister, he forced himself on her and he raped her. Lamentations, real quick here. Let's go to Lamentations. Lamentations chapter 5. Lamentations chapter 5. Right? Let's read Lamentations chapter 5. And let's start at verse 1. And it reads, O Lord, what is come upon us, consider, and behold our reproach. Our inheritance is turned to strangers, our houses to aliens. We are orphans and fatherless. Our mothers are as widows. We have drunken our water for money. Our wood is sold unto us. Our necks are under persecution. We labor, and we have no rest. Verse 6, we have given the hand to the Egyptians and to the Assyrians to be satisfied with bread. Our fathers have sinned and are not, and we have borne their iniquities. We have borne their iniquities. The servants have ruled over us. There is none that does deliver us out of their hand. We got our bread with the peril of our lives. Because of the sword of the wilderness, our skin was black like an oven because of the terrible famine. That's why the book is called Lamentation. They are wailing. Verse 11, they who? They are who? Let's go back real quick here. Who are they? When it says, and they, verse 2, our inheritance is turned to strangers. One more time. Let me get my pointer here. Let's see who they are. Our inheritance is turned to strangers. Our houses to aliens. So now let's see who are the they. Let's go back now. Verse 11. They ravage the women in Zion, meaning the strangers, and the maids, which are female women, in the cities of Judah. They ravage the women of Zion, meaning they rape. You hear that, Nepal? Saw Satan, they raped the women of Zion. Let's go get a precept. Let's go get a precept. The precept, Zechariah. The prophet Zechariah. The prophet Zechariah, chapter 14. Let's get the precept. Let's read verses 1 through 3. Zechariah. Behold, the day of the Lord cometh, and thy spoil shall be divided in the midst of thee. Verse 2. For I will gather all nations against Jerusalem to battle, and the city shall be taken, and the houses ripped, or rifled, or riffled, and the women ravaged. The women ravaged, and half of the city they shall go forth into captivity, and the residue of the people they shall not be cut off from the city. But it says that the women, not only did they take the men and women into captivity, but they ravished the women. Let me get my pointer. Let me get my pointer real quick here. Yes, real quick here. Let's go inside my old KJV Bible. I have the same Bible, but I use this one a lot more. Let's go back to Zechariah, because for some reason this book here, the pages kind of fold. So let's go back in Zechariah real quick. Zechariah 14. And let's read that last sentence in verse 3 right here. Let me get my pointer. So not only did the Jews was taken to captivity by the other nations, it says that they also, the women ravage. They ravage the women, and half of the city they shall go forth into captivity. So they ravage the women. They rape the women. You hear that, Nepal and Qanath? They rape the women. Don't call on nobody, Qanath. If somebody rape your daughter or your wife or Nepal, don't call on the cops, the police or the FBI, Qanath. Don't call nobody. Just let it be, because you say it's okay. According to the Bible, if you do not say it, your so-called wife, the witch, Nepal, she said it for sure. For sure, she said it. So now let's go to the book of Judges, Judges and deal with the Benjamites. The Benjamites. The Benjamites, we know the story. The Benjamites almost got wiped out, right? Almost got wiped out completely by the other tribes. So now let's pick it up at chapter 21, verse 1. Now the men of Israel had sworn in Mizpah. Some translations say Mizpah, which is in Benjamin, saying, there shall not any of us give daughter or his daughter unto Benjamin to wife. So after the tribes almost completely wiped out Benjamin, they made an oath and swore among each other, all the other tribes, that they would not give their daughters to the Benjamites to reproduce, saying, there shall not any of us give his daughter unto Benjamin to wife. Verse 2. And the people came to the house of God and abode there, which was in Jerusalem, there till even before God, and lifted up their voices and wept sore. So the people cried because the Benjamites was almost wiped out. Even though the Israelites, the other tribes, almost wiped out Benjamin, they had compassion. They felt sorry that the tribe of Benjamin was almost wiped out. Verse 3. And said, O Lord God of Israel, why is this come to pass in Israel that there should be taken, or today, that there shall be today one tribe lacking in Israel? Why, God? Why? Why is there one tribe lacking in Israel? Why? Because they almost wiped out the Benjamites. Verse 4. And it came to pass on the morrow that the people rose early and built there an altar and offered burnt offerings and peace offerings. Verse 5. And the children of Israel said, who is there among all the tribes of Israel that came not up with the congregation unto the Lord? For they had made a great oath concerning him that came not up to the Lord to Mizpah, saying, he shall surely be put to death. Because they said that any tribe within any town or city within the territories of the tribes, if they did not come up to fight, they was going to deal with them also. Verse 6. And the children of Israel repented them for Benjamin, their brother, and said, there is one tribe cut off from Israel this day, because the Benjamites were almost wiped out. Verse 7. How shall we do for wives for them that remain, seeing we have sworn by the Lord that we will not give them our daughters to wives? So they said, what are we going to do? Because we made an oath that we will not give our daughters to them. Verse 8. And they said, what one is there of the tribes of Israel that came not up to Mizpah? What tribe did not come up to help us fight the Benjamites? And behold, there came none to the camp from Jabesh Gilead to the assembly. So within the territory of Manasseh, okay, was a village or town, etc., city called Jabesh Gilead. So many of the Jews within the tribe of Manasseh did not come up to fight. Verse 9. For the people were numbered, and behold, because they had to count the men to come help fight the Benjamites. The people were numbered, and behold, there were none of the inhabitants of Jabesh Gilead there. So when they counted the men that came up to fight from each tribe and all the cities within those tribes, and all the villages within those tribes, within Manasseh, it was a village called Jabesh Gilead. Those men within that town, that village or city, they did not come up to fight. Verse 10. And the congregation sent thither 12,000 men, the Velites, and commanded them, saying, go and smite the inhabitants of Jabesh Gilead, which was Manasseh territory, with the edge of the sword, with the women and the children. So they went to the town of Jabesh Gilead within Manasseh, and they wiped out all those men. And it says they killed the women and children in that town because they did not come up to fight. Because they count all the men from each town within each tribe that came up to help fight against Benjamin. Verse 11. And this is the thing that ye shall do. Ye shall utterly destroy every male and every woman that has lain by man. Meaning, when you go to the town of Jabesh Gilead, destroy every man and every woman that are not virgins. Verse 12. And they found among the inhabitants of Jabesh Gilead 400 young virgins that had known no man by living with any male. And they brought them into the camp. They brought them into the camp to Shiloh, which is in the land of Canaan. So they brought these women that was left, that they did not slay, because there was virgins within that town in the tribe of Manasseh, Gilead, Jabesh Gilead, and they brought these women that were virgins. It said how many of those virgins? They brought 400, which is very little. And the whole congregation sent some to speak. The whole congregation, they sent people to go speak to the Benjamites that were in the rock of Rimmon, which is in Benjamin, and to call peaceably unto them, because the Benjamites, they went hiding because they was almost wiped out. So they sent people to go speak to the Benjamites. Verse 14. And Benjamin came again at that time, and they gave them wives. They gave them these wives that they found or they reserved out of Jabesh Gilead that was virgins. They gave them wives, which they had saved alive, of the women in Jabesh Gilead, which is in Manasseh, and yet, so they suffered them not. Verse 15, and the people repented them for Benjamin, because that the Lord had made a breach in the tribes of Israel. Verse 16, then the elders of the congregation said, how shall we do for wives for them that remain, seeing the women are destroyed out of Benjamin? They said, how shall we do? Because these virgins that we brought back is not enough. It's not enough. It is not enough wives to give all these Benjamites. Verse 17. And they said, there must be an inheritance for them that be escaped of Benjamin, that a tribe be not destroyed out of Israel. Verse 18, howbeit we may not give them wives of our daughters, for the children of Israel have sworn, saying, cursed be he. Here's the key, folks. Cursed be he that giveth a wife to Benjamin. Verse 19. And they said, behold, there is a feast of the Lord in Shiloh yearly, in a place which on the north side of Bethel, which is Benjamin, on the east side of the highway that goes up from Bethel to Shechem, and on the south of Lebanon. Verse 20. Therefore they commanded the children of Benjamin, saying, go and lie in wait in the vineyards. Now remember, they just said, we have sworn, and that saying, cursed be he that give a wife to Benjamin. So they told the Benjamites to go and lie in wait in the vineyards, and see, and behold, if the daughters of Shiloh come out to dance in dances, then come ye out of the vineyards, and catch you every man his wife of the daughters of Shiloh, and go to the land of Benjamin. So they told the Benjamites what to do. Go hide and wait. If the daughters of Shiloh come out to dance, go catch you a wife. But watch this, folks. And it shall be when their fathers or their brethren come unto us to complain. To complain. Why? Because the fathers have to give away their daughters. The fathers have to give away their daughters, or his daughter. Any father have to give away his daughter. So it says, if their fathers of these women are shallow when they come out to dance, if their fathers or their brethren come to us to complain, that we will say unto them, be favorable unto them for our sakes, because we reserve not to each man his wife in the war. For ye do not give unto them at this time, that ye should be guilty. But notice, they told the fathers and the women brothers, they said, for be favorable and let the Benjamites take your daughters and your sisters to wives, for wives, right? For ye did not give unto them at this time, that ye should be guilty. Because over here it says that they made an oath. Cursed be he that give a wife to Benjamin. So they telling these fathers, look, by doing it this way, you're not giving away your daughters. Basically, you're not letting all of Israel know that you're allowing your daughters to be taken by the Benjamites, because all of Israel made an oath and said, cursed be he that giveth a wife to Benjamin. They all made an oath. So they telling these fathers and these women brothers, they said, look here, just allow your daughters to be taken by the Benjamites as wives, but you will not be found guilty, because we know that you made an oath. So basically, they did it in secretly. These fathers secretly allowed their daughters to be taken by the Benjamites. So all the other men in Israel would not know, and therefore they would not be cursed, because it said, cursed is he that giveth a wife to Benjamin. So they went privately and spoke to these fathers and these brothers and said, just let them take your daughters and sisters as wives. Okay, all the other tribes, nobody would know. That way you would not be found guilty. So basically, folks, these fathers and these women brothers, they gave their blessings to these Benjamites without saying anything. One more time, they gave their blessings for the Benjamites to take their daughters and sisters, but without saying anything. Because if they would have agreed verbally, then they would have been accused and went against the oath that they made altogether. Cursed be he that giveth a wife to Benjamin. So the fathers, they gave their blessings without saying anything for the Benjamites to take their daughters. That way they were not found guilty of the oath. So they told these fathers and their brothers to be favorable to them, because the Benjamites was lacking as a tribe. If they come out to catch your daughters, be favorable. Not meaning they're going to take their daughters and go rape them. Why would they take the daughters and go rape them when it says if the fathers come out to complain? If they took these women that dance and took these women back and raped them, the tribes would have got together again and went and killed them. Because what was the reason the tribes got together in the first place? Because of what the Benjamites did by raping that Levite wife or concubine and killing her. They said, when your daughters come out to dance, they said to the fathers and their brothers, if they come to complain, that we will say to them, don't worry, we will say to them, be favorable unto them for our sakes, because we reserve not to each man his wife in the war. For ye do not give unto them at this time, that ye should be guilty. Verse 23. And the children of Benjamin did so, and took them wives according to their number of them that danced, whom they caught. Not meaning they caught and took them and raped them. If they would have raped them, they would have got killed also by the tribes. And they went and returned unto their inheritance, and repaired the cities and dwelt in them. Verse 24, and the children of Israel departed thence at that time. And the children of Israel departed thence at that time, every man to his tribe and to his family. And they went out from thence, every man to his inheritance. In those days, there was no king in Israel. Every man did that which was right in his own eyes. Okay, so again, when they said if the fathers and brothers, if their fathers and brothers come out to complain, we would say to them, be favorable, because the tribe of Benjamin was lacking. There was lacking. So be favorable. Please allow your daughters or your sisters to become wives to the Benjamites so they can reproduce. Let's skip over back now to Judges, or back up to Judges 19, right? Judges 19 and 24. Behold, here is my daughter, the man said, a maiden, and his concubines, because the Benjamites were trying to rape that man, that Levite. They want that Levite man to come out so they can rape him, so they can get to know him. Behold, there is my daughter, a maiden, and his concubine, them I will bring out now, and humble ye them, and do with them what seemeth good unto you. But unto this man do not so vile a thing. Okay? Do not vile a thing. But the men would not hearken to him. So the man took his concubine and brought her forth unto them. And they knew her and abused her. They abused her all that night until the morning. And when the day began to spring, they let her go. They let her go. Then it says here, then came the woman to the dawning of the day and fell down at the door of the man's house where her Lord was till it was light, and she died. They raped her and abused her all that night. And the reason why the man said he'll take my concubine or whatever and do unto her, because he rather take her and give to them than a man so they can have homosexual intercourse. So he rather do that. But he did not want to give his concubine either, but he didn't have no choice. He didn't have no choice to do that. Or they probably would have killed him. But he was not expecting them to abuse her to the point where she died. And then after that, all the tribes got together. They all got together. And they almost wiped out the Benjamites because they raped that man's concubine. They abused her all night. And she died. And they got together and almost wiped out Benjamin. They almost wiped out. And what happened is they chopped the Levite chopped her body in parts and sent her body parts to all the tribes so they could see what those Benjamites did. And all the tribes got together and almost wiped out the Benjamites completely. So this goes to show you that God is not dealing with no rape. Now let's go back one more time. So they said, therefore they commanded the children of Benjamin, saying, go and lie in wait in the vineyard, and see, behold, if the daughters of Shiloh come out to dance in dances, then come ye and out of the vineyards, and catch you every man his wife of the daughters of Shiloh, and go to the land of Benjamin. If they come out to dance, go catch you a wife. Not take them back and rape them, Because if they did, the tribes would have got together again and killed them too. Verse 22, I'm almost done. And it shall be when their fathers or brothers complain. See, if their fathers or brothers complain, we would talk to them because the fathers had to give away the daughters. Okay? The fathers had to give away the daughters. And if you want to know more about that, when Shawsham do his rape presentation, he is going to bring those scriptures out. The fathers had to approve and give away the daughters. So the fathers approved because they allowed the Benjamites to take their daughters, not to go rape them though. Not to go rape them. Because if they did, as I said one more time, all the tribes would have got together again and killed those Benjamites. They took wives back to their cities and towns within Benjamin to reproduce, not to rape. I'm going to one more place. Genesis 39. The story of Joseph. When Potiphar's wife tried to get him to sleep with her. You can read the story on your own, but let's start right up here. Okay? Let's start right up here. So, let's start at verse 10. And it came to pass, as she spake to Joseph that day, that he hearkened not unto her. He was trying to get Joseph to sleep with her. We all know the story. That he hearkened not unto her, to lie by her, or to be with her. And it came to pass about this time that Joseph went into the house to do his business, and there was none of the men of the house there within. And she caught him by his garment, saying, Lie with me. And he left his garment. He left his garment in her hand and fled and got him out. So he fled. She took his garment. He left. And it came to pass, when she saw that he had left his garment in her hand and was fled forth, that she called unto the men of the house and spake unto them, saying, See, he has brought in a Hebrew unto us to mock us. He came in unto me to lie with me, and I cried with a loud voice. So she's lying because even at the Egyptians, they understood that a woman had to cry out for rape. One more time, she said, she lied and said, and I cried with a loud voice. But we know that she lied. Verse 15, and it came to pass, when he heard that I lifted up my voice and cried, she's lying, and cried, that he left his garment with me and fled and got him out. Verse 16, and she laid up his garment by her until his Lord came home. And she spake unto him according to these words, saying, the Hebrew servant which thou hast brought unto us, he came in unto me to mock me. And it came to pass, as she continued her lie, she's talking to Potiphar, and it came to pass, as I lifted up my voice and cried, that he left his garment with me and fled out. But we know that she lied. But the point of the matter is, she lied and said she cried out. So even the Egyptians understood that, or the women of Egypt and the men of ancient Egypt, they understood that a woman had to cry out if she was raped. But we know that Joseph did not rape this woman. Okay? He did not rape her. Also showing you that God do not condone rape, because they cast Joseph into prison, right? He was cast into prison, but let's read it. And Joseph's master took him and put him into prison, verse 20, and placed where the king's prisoners were bound, and he was there in the prison. But the Lord, verse 21, but the Lord was with Joseph. He was with Joseph and showed him mercy and gave him favor in the sight of the keeper of the prison, because God do not condone rape. That's why he was favorable to Joseph, because he knew that Joseph did not rape that woman as she lied